Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you are doing great. So welcome back to Science Tactics. Here I'm going to start a series of video lectures of AKUEB board chemistry. And if you really wants to clear your AKUEB board examination with very good marks, so do subscribe, share and hit the like button and don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated, right? So without wasting time, let's move to our class. Okay, so the topic we have to cover today, that is the first chapter, which is fundamentals of chemistry. So in fundamentals of chemistry we have different SLOs. So the very first SLO we have is 1.1 chemistry and its branches. 1.1.1 in which we have to study define chemistry and its various branches, all the branches we are going to study. And then we have SLO 1.1.2, which is significance of branches of chemistry mentioned in SLO 1.1.1. All right, so we are going to study these two SLO. Okay, so welcome back dear students into chemistry class. Again we have SLO1 fundamentals of chemistry, in which we are going to study the different branches of chemistry, and then SLO 1.1.2 in which we are going to study the significance of the branches of chemistry mentioned in SLO 1.1.1. Okay, okay, so just move to our topic, chemistry. Okay, now what is chemistry? What is chemistry? I know, no, most of the students think that chemistry is chemical reactions which the scientists do in the laboratory. Okay, obviously that is chemistry, but chemistry is far away. Chemistry is far more than that, right? Chemistry is not about that we are only going to perform the experiment in the lab. Chemistry is everywhere around us. Everywhere around us is chemistry. Okay, now if the very the core definition of chemistry is chemistry is the study of matter, right? The study of matter, right? And what is matter? This word matter. Okay, and what is matter? Anything which has mass and occupies space means everything in this world, in this universe, is matter, and there are different states of matter. We interact in our daily life with gases, with liquid, with solid. For example, if we just take the example of the gas, so the air, the mixture of air in which we breathe, that consists of different gases like carbon dioxide, like oxygen, like nitrogen, right? And many other gases are present over there. So that is what? That is matter. That is chemistry. Okay, the prime example of liquid is water, right? So water in which oxygen is bonded with two hydrogen atom, which we drink. It's a matter, and the study of this is known as chemistry. Now solid. Okay, if you are sitting in your room, so then if you will see around you, so everything is in the solid state, na? The furniture, the walls, the fan, everything is solid. And a solid is what? Solid is matter, and the study of matter is known as the chemistry. Like everything is made up of some material, na? For example, if you have a furniture, so it would be made up of the wood. So wood, what is there? Cellulose, right? Cellulose, pectin. So what are the cellulose and pectin? There is a carbon, there is a hydrogen. So the chemistry involved in it. For example, if I'm going to take the example of wall, so wall in your room is which is made up of the cement. And what is the cement? Cement, calcium carbonate, right? This is the prime substance which is present in the cement. So means that everything in this universe is made up of some elements, some compounds, and these elements and compounds is known as the study of that is known as the chemistry. Okay, for example, okay, then if you have a bacteria, right? Bacteria is a very microorganism which you can't see with your naked eye. But if you will see this, and the composition of the bacteria, as we know that bacteria, the cell wall of the bacteria, which is composed of the peptidoglycan. So peptidoglycan means that there would be a phosphorus, there would be a glycogen. So what are these? These are the elements now. And from microorganism, bacteria, to move living organisms, the human beings. So the human beings, the basic unit is cell. And we know that 70% of the cell is made up of water. And water is consist of the what? H2O, hydrogen and oxygen. And again, there the different organelles, like the mitochondria, like the cell, the cell boundary, cell membrane, which is made up of the phospholipids. Phospholipid consists of what? Phosphate and lipids, right? uh, then you have, then different cells combines together, they form the you know uh, tissues, and tissues combine together form the organ and organ system. So basically the basic element is cell, and cell consists of the bioelements, right? And bioelements combines together form the micromolecules, and micromolecules together form the macromolecules, like the proteins, like the carbohydrates, like the fats, like the lipids. Again, if we move to living organism, to the whole, the universe itself is made of some objects. Like, if for example, if I just see the sun. So in sun, the fusion reaction is taking place. Fusion reaction is what? In which hydrogen combines together, they form the helium, and the fusion reaction is taking place. Like, all the elements, all the planets are made up of some elements, right? Different planets are there, and definitely they are made up of some elements. So when we are going to study the composition of the matter, that is known as the chemistry. So in short, what is the definition of chemistry? I can say that that chemistry is a branch of science that focus on composition of matter. Composition of matter means the object is made up of from which component. For example, if you have a water, so if I will say what is the composition of water, so the composition of water is oxygen is chemically bonded with the hydrogen, so that is the composition of the water. Same like if I will say that sulfuric acid, right? Sulfuric acid, what is the composition of sulfuric acid? H2SO4, right? Okay, if you have a glucose, so glucose, the composition of glucose is C6H12O6, right? So in chemistry, what we study? Composition of matter. Then again, structure of matter. Like, structure of matter means that how the elements are arranged in a compound. Okay, for example, if we take the example of water, because it's a very common example na? So water, so the in water, the oxygen and hydrogen, how they are arranged, or how they are organized to form the water molecule. They are organized in this like structure, like the band structure. If I just take the example of carbon dioxide, right? So how the structure of carbon dioxide is, like, carbon is bonded with oxygen, double bond oxygen, so this is a linear structure. So in this way, the elements are arranged to form the molecule in carbon dioxide, right? So the structure of matter, how atoms and molecules are arranged. Again, properties of matter, like, properties of matter means color of any chemical, right? Density, because every chemical has its own density. Like, reactivity, because every element show its own reactivity. Boiling point, so every element have its own boiling point. As I'm going to say, like water, H2O, so H2O has the boiling point of 100 degrees Celsius, right? So it's same like every liquid has its own specific boiling point. Then we have characteristics like color, density, reactivity, boiling point. All these shows the properties of the matter. Okay, the next we have is changes of matter. The changes takes place in matter, right? Changes takes place in matter. For example, if you have a solid, so solid will change into the solid change into liquid, liquid change into gases, right? So solid change into liquid, liquid change into gases. Again, the solid can directly change into gas, gas can directly change into solid. So whatever the changes takes place, either it is a chemical change, either it is a physical change, comes in the chemistry. So in short, I can say chemistry is a branch of science in which we study composition of matter, structure of matter, properties of matter, and the changes takes place in the matter, right? I hope we are done with the branch of in the definition of chemistry. Now we have to move to the branches of chemistry. So there are different branches of chemistry, like, okay, as you have a room and in the your room you have dispersed all your books, so that definitely that would be difficult for you to find a specific book. Like, there are randomly, there are different books like physics, chemistry, biology, then you know, Pakistan studies, then international relations, all the books are dispersed on your floor. So definitely it would be difficult for you to take a specific book and to study that. For that, what we do, that we just make a different shelves, right? We just make a different shelves and just organize the books, so that we can, for example, if we have, I organize the physics book in this shelf, chemistry book in this shelf, so that would be convenient for us to study a particular topic. So whenever we have to study the chemistry, so we just go to this shelf and just take out the book of chemistry and we will read that, right? Same like we, as I told you, that in the whole universe, when we are going to study the composition of the matter, that would be chemistry. For example, if we are going to study the structure of the DNA, then if we are going to, we have to synthesize the uh, medicines in the lab, or different pharmaceutical products in the lab, different organic compounds in the lab, or the physical changes, we are going to study the, reactivity of the elements of the compounds. Like, for example, the temperature increase the kinetic energy of the elements, right? So if I want to study that, then we have a different polymers, right? How to synthesize the polymer. And environmental chemistry, like, there are different environmental factor, like the pollutants like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, which pollute our air. And we are going to study the different composition of the different layers of the earth. Like, we have different layers: troposphere, stratosphere, thermosphere, and they also have a different composition, right? Then different inorganic molecules are there. Then we have geochemistry. Then, okay, detergent, like, have you ever wondered that how the soap cleans your hand? And definitely the astrophysics, like, in which we study the planets. How we come to know that there are some planets who are terrestrial, who are some ice giant planets are there. How we come to know? Because there are different branches of chemistry. So because everything is in this universe, when we study this composition, that would be chemistry, but we have organized the different branches according to our convenience, that if we want to particularly study the polymers, so we just put the into the polymer chemistry. If I really want to study the carbon containing compounds, so I just put them into the organic chemistry. So I will study the organic chemistry, not all the chemistry, right? So now we are going to move the different branches of chemistry. Okay, the very first branch we have is organic chemistry. That is very, very interesting branch of chemistry. So the definition is study of hydrocarbons and their derivatives. Right? Hydrocarbon means that the basic structure, the basic skeleton would be carbon, but with hydrogen. That is known as the hydrocarbon. Carbon with hydrogen. And the study of hydrocarbon is known as the organic chemistry. Okay, again there is a word derivatives. So derivatives means if any compound which is derived from the organic compound, that would be the also comes in the organic chemistry. For example, CCl4, which is carbon tetrachloride, right? Carbon tetrachloride. Now it is the carbon tetrachloride. It looks like that it is a inorganic, but it's a organic compound, right? Okay, now here you can also see the other examples as well. The glucose. So you see the basic skeleton is carbon, carbon, carbon with hydrogen, but also the other substitute can be present over there, like oxygen, like nitrogen, which change the functional group, right? Then we have, like, for example, methane, ethane, butane, hexane, heptane, alcohol, phenol. All are the organic compounds. So in short, what is organic chemistry? Study of hydrocarbons and their derivatives, right? Now, what are the significance of the organic chemistry? The basics of petrochemical. What is mean by petrochemical? Petrochemicals mean, for example, if you have a petrol, right? So petrol is what? That you just go and just take the petrol. No, it's not happened like that. Na? There is a crude oil. Crude oil from which we take out the petrol. So by the fractional distillation of the crude oil, we take different components like gasoline, like diesel, right? So the gasoline is also known as the petrol. So also, have you ever listened about that, the low quality petrol or high quality petrol? So we study these all things, we study in the petrochemicals. And pharmaceutical industries means all the medicines that are organic in nature. So when we going to prepare the medicines in the industry, so that would comes in the pharmaceutical industries. Used in agricultural and synthetic material, right? And we know that many fertilizers are organic in nature as well. And the synthetic materials, like we have to synthesize, for example, if we want to synthesize the polymers, so polymer we can also synthesize in the organic chemistry. Used helps us understand natural products. Natural products mean if we have a nicotine, right? So nicotine, and we have a caffeine which we extract from the plants, right? Okay, now um, done. So that helps to understand the natural products. Okay, again we have here inorganic chemistry. So inorganic chemistry means study of all the elements and compounds except hydrocarbons, right? So when we are going to study all the elements except hydrocarbons. Okay, now hydrocarbons means, as I told you, the carbon hydrogen bond is known as a hydrocarbons, right? Okay, now what about the pure carbon? For example, if you have a pure carbon, for example, the pure example of pure carbon is diamond, right? So diamond is an element because it is made up of purely carbon. So diamond is organic or inorganic? It's organic or inorganic? It is organic. Diamond is inorganic. It's not organic. Diamond is inorganic. Okay, why? Because as I told you that in inorganic chemistry we study carbon with hydrogen, right? So in organic chemistry we study hydrocarbons, but in inorganic chemistry we study all the 118 elements which is present in the periodic table, right? Periodic table. So also the pure form of carbon we study in the inorganic chemistry, and also the other compounds. For example, we have carbon dioxide, that is also an inorganic compound. We have carbon monoxide, that is also an inorganic compound. Okay, now what are the significance of inorganic chemistry? It's supports glass, cement, and fertilizer industries, right? So glass, what is the composition of glass? Silicon dioxide, like uh, cement, calcium carbonate. Fertilizer industries, like different fertilizers are organic in nature, like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. So these are the basic elements which the fertilizers contain. So when we going to synthesize in a bulk quantity, so that would be in organic chemistry. And also when we are going to study these, so that comes in the inorganic chemistry. Okay, here you can also see, just like there here, um, there copper hydroxide, right? Then we have calcium carbonate, then potassium chromate, then we have calcium chloride, right? So all these are the inorganic compounds, and when we study these, we study these and also synthesize in the industries that come in the inorganic chemistry. Okay, the next point we have is used in metallurgy and ceramics, right? So what does mean by metallurgy? Metallurgy means to drawn into sheets and wires, right? So metallurgy means to drawn into sheets and wires. For example, you have a copper wire, aluminum wires, right? And also the very common example is gold, right? Gold is drawn into many sheets, right? So because of that, that is known as the metallurgy. Then, and ceramics means the things, the objects which are made up of the clay. Okay, so when the substances are made up of the clay and then we are going to apply a heat, so that will change into the ceramics. Like, so ceramics materials are that are made up of the clay, right? These are the examples which are made up of the clay that are known as the ceramics, and that also are inorganic in nature because their composition is silicon dioxide mostly. And metallurgy, as we have copper, copper wires, aluminium wire, we have gold, AU, gold, uh, or gold, different sheets of the gold. So that comes in the inorganic chemistry. Then important in chemical manufacturing, right? Chemical manufacturing like the HCl that is used in the batteries, sulfuric acid, H2SO4, H2SO4, which is also used in the batteries, different batteries. The HCl used in the fuel cell, H2SO4, the normal batteries which we use it at our home. So for the product synthesis of the different chemicals manufacturing, we use in the inorganic chemistry. So these are the benefits or the significance of inorganic chemistry, right? Okay, the next branch we have is physical chemistry. So, physical chemistry is the branch of chemistry that deals with the relationship between the composition and physical properties of matter along with the changes in them, right? So in physical chemistry what we study the physical changes which is going to take place. For example, if we have a solid state, right, just like the ice. So ice, on applying the heat, the ice will change into the liquid, and again on applying heat it will change into the gas. But also gas can directly change into solid, solid can directly change into gas. So these are the changes which we are going to study in the physical chemistry. Also we study the effect of temperature, the effect of pressure on the chemical reactions in the physical chemistry, right? Okay, now what are the significance of physical chemistry? Studies structure of atoms and molecules, right? Okay, study structures of atoms and molecule, as I explained you that if we have the structure like water, right? So what is the structure of water? Yeah, the structure of water is that oxygen is organized or the chemically bonded with the hydrogen in this way, that is form a band structure, right? If I'm going to say that yeah, uh, methane. So methane, in methane the hydrogen is in a tetrahedral structure just like this, right? Again we have a carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide, in carbon dioxide the carbon is chemically bonded with oxygen in this way, the linear structure is formed, right? Now explains behavior of gases, liquids and solids. As we know that solids behave in a different way than gases and gases behave in a different way than the liquids. Why? Because of the force of attraction between the molecules. As we know that in the solid there is a greater amount of force of attraction because the molecules are tightly packed together, right? So they are no free to move. In solids they behave different from the liquids. Because why? Because there is the strong force of attraction between the molecules, so they will behave in a different way. And if I'm talking about the liquid, so liquid there is a weak force of attraction between the molecules, so they behave in a different way. And we have a gases which have a very very weak force of attraction between the molecules, so right, so they will behave in a different way. Okay, again we have other branch. Okay, the next point we have is analyze effects of temperature and okay, analyze effects of temperature and radiation. That means that if there is a chemical reaction is going to take place, so the effect of temperature and radiation we study in the physical chemistry. Okay, now we have another branch which is okay, analytical chemistry. So that is a very interesting branch of chemistry. Analytical chemistry, what is the definition? Analytical chemistry deals with the separation and analysis of a sample to identify its components, right? Separation techniques means there are different separation techniques through which we separate the components present in the components present in a sample, present in sample. Okay, as we know that we can extract the different component. For example, if you need a nicotine, so how you just take the nicotine from the plant or from any other compound? How? due to the separation technique, right? Then you have a analysis of a sample. Analysis of a sample means, for example, if you have a cup of coffee, so in a coffee, you know what, you have to analyze that which components are present, right? Which components are present in a sample. For example, if this is a coffee, and in this there is a caffeine, there is a carbohydrates, there is a water, but they are present in a different quantities. So we can analyze a sample means that which components are present and which amount are present. For example, caffeine, if I'm saying caffeine is present 50%, right? So 15% is caffeine, and we have 20% is carbohydrates, and then we have 10%, 20% of water, and 10% of other different micromolecules are present over there. Yeah, macromolecules are present over there. When we are going to analyze a sample, that which components are present and which amount are present, that we study in the analytical chemistry, right? And identify its component, right? We also identify, for example, if you have a blood analysis, right? So blood analysis, so in blood analysis, what the forensic chemists do, that we know that if we have a blood sample, so in the blood sample we know there would be a plasma, there would be WBCs, there would be RBCs, there would be many different minerals are there, and also the excretory materials, ammonia would be there. Okay. Now, what the forensic chemists do, if, for example, if a human being or any other living organism is died due to the toxic material he or she has taken. For example, if a person is given cyanide, which is a poison, and he is died by taking the poison. Now, what the forensic chemists do, that they will analyze the sample, like, okay, ठीक है, okay, plasma is present, WBC is present, RBC is present, mineral is present again, but if he has taken cyanide, so cyanide would be present over there, right? Cyanide. By the help of the chromatography or spectroscopy techniques, they can identify that which components are present, like there. So they by doing that they can identify that cyanide is present over there, so cyanide is a cause of the death. Done. Okay, now significance, performs qualitative and quantitative analysis. Qualitative means which components are present over there. Like as in this sample, the caffeine, carbohydrates, water, these are the components. So which components are present? That shows the qualitative analysis, and quantitative in which amount are present. For example, if I'm saying this is 50%, 20%, so these show the quantity. Used in water, food and clinical labs, like water, as I told you, that to identify the components. For example, if there are the impurities in a water, right? So how can we identify that these impurities? By the analytical techniques we apply on the water, and by the help of this we come to know that these impurities are present in the water. Food, like though impurities present in the food or the contamination present in the food, also that how much vitamins, proteins, carbohydrates are present in a food. For example, if you take any uh, food which you eat, for example, if you just take a snacks, so whatever the snacks you eat, it is written over there in ingredients, right? Ingredients, it is written over there that 50% of carbohydrates are there, 30% of proteins are there, vitamins are there, whatever they have added the flavors or whatever they have added, they just added the quantity. How they added that? Just because of the analytical techniques, right? Ensure safety and quality control. Because of this, we can uh, you know purify our food products and our different products like water, like food. So that is very you know interesting branch of chemistry. Okay, now here I have a video for you, for you can observe that as well.
Discuss major types of chemistry and their uses. Ever watched a mystery series in which the detective recovers an unidentifiable sample from the scene of the crime and runs it through a series of tests? This is what comes in analytical chemistry. Analytical chemistry. Analytical chemistry is the study involving how we analyze the chemical components of a sample. For example, how much caffeine is there in a cup of tea? Are there drugs in an athlete's urine samples? Examples of areas using analytical chemistry include forensic science, environmental science, and drug testing. Analytical chemistry can be divided into two main branches: qualitative and quantitative analysis. Qualitative analysis employs methods and measurements to help determine the components of substances. Quantitative analysis, on the other hand, helps to identify how much of each component is present in a substance. Both types of analysis can be used to provide important information about an unidentified sample and help to identify what the sample is. Biochemistry.
Okay, so I think you are clear about the analytical chemistry. Okay, now we just going to move to another branch, that is biochemistry, right? So that is also a very interesting branch of chemistry. Biochemistry studies the structure, composition, and chemical reactions of substance found in living organisms, right? So the very first thing is that biochemistry studies the structure and composition of the composition chemicals which is found in the living organisms, in all the plants, in all the animals, in the living organism. What are the different components are present there, their composition. For example, the protein. So the structure of protein, as we know that protein consists of when amino acids, different amino acids combine together, they form the protein, right? So that we study in the biochemistry. And as we know, there are different amino acids. Again, we have yes, the structure of glucose, right? So glucose, different types like glucose, sucrose, these are the different organic components which are present in living organisms, right? So when we are going to study their structure, see, you can study their structure, then how they are composed of carbon, and then hydroxyl group is present over there, hydrogen is present over there. So that is the that comes in the biochemistry. Also we have a, yes, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. See, it's look like it's a ladder like structure, but the composition is that there is a pentose sugar, and then with pentose sugar there are different groups are present over there, right? The phosphate group is present over there, and their sulfide linkage is over there. So these are the structure of these ladders. So when we are going to study these structures, that is the biochemistry. Also, the chemical reactions of a substance. For example, okay, if you just take a food, what you do, you just take a food, and after taking the food, after digestion, it converts into a simple micromolecule, right? Like the amino acid, what you have taken protein, but just it has converted into amino acids, right? You have taken the carbohydrates, which is converted into the simplest molecules, glucose, right? So all the reaction, either catabolic reaction or the anabolic reaction, all these reaction comes in the biochemistry. And the very common example is the photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis, food making process in plant. Then we have respiration, right? Respiration also, in which the energy like glucose change into the ATP and provides energy. So that is also the a reaction that takes place in the living organisms, especially in the animals. So that is biochemistry. Okay, now we have what are the significance of biochemistry. Also the enzymes, like as we know that mostly enzymes are proteinaceous in nature. The structure of and the enzymes, and how the enzymes are working, like how the insulin in our body is working, all these reactions, it comes in the biochemistry. Okay, now the what is the significance helps understand metabolism and disease. As I told you, metabolism means whatever the chemical reaction will takes place inside the living organism, that would be the metabolism. And it the types of metabolism are catabolism and anabolism. Catabolism means that whatever the food we have taken, it will break down into the simplest molecule. Anabolic means, from the different anabolic means that to synthesize a large molecule, right? As we know that many enzymes are proteinaceous in nature, so many different amino acids combined together, they form the enzymes, so that are the anabolic reaction, right? Again, used in medical and agricultural sciences, medicines, definitely. When we are going to know, for example, the insulin, right? The diabetes is caused due to the insulin, that the insulin is not producing in inside the human body, or it is producing in a lesser amount. So that would be study in the comes in the biochemistry, right? Agriculture sciences, we also study biochemistry in agriculture sciences, whatever the diseases in the plants, and what for that which fertilizers we have to synthesize, we also study in the biochemistry. Explains how energy is obtained from food, as I told you that we just take the food, but then the food catabolize into the different simplest micromolecules, so that is also comes in the biochemistry. And there are different examples are biochemistry, photosynthesis, respiration, production of the enzymes, okay, the breakdown of the food, that how the enzymes are working in the body, these all are the biochemistry. Again, we have a different branch, that is industrial chemistry. It's a very simple branch of chemistry, because when we are going to manufacture the chemicals compounds on a commercial scale, on a larger scale in the industries, so that would known as the industrial chemistry. For example, the paint industry, soap also prepared in the large amount in the industry, fertilizers, plastics, these all are prepared in the industry. So when we prepared any of substance in the industry, so that would come in the industrial chemistry. Now, what are the significance? Produces raw materials for many industries, right? Okay, raw materials means what materials we require to prepare a final product. For example, to make a glucose, what we required to make a glucose, like in the photosynthesis, what we require, we may require a raw material. Raw material is H2O and what? Carbon dioxide. So these would be the raw material, right? So many raw material required for many industries. Using in fertilizers, as we know that fertilizers also prepared in the industry, soaps, paints, these all are prepared in industries, important for economic and technological growth. Yes, industrial chemistry is also very important for economic and technological growth, right? So these all are the significance of the industrial chemistry. Okay, then we have a nuclear chemistry. Nuclear chemistry, the branch of chemistry that will deals with the radioactivity, nuclear processes, and the properties, right? So in nuclear chemistry, what we study the unstable nucleus, right? Unstable nucleus. Unstable nucleus, it will emit the radiations, and with the help of the unstable nucleus, we can prepare different uh, substances or different structures, like the atomic bomb we can prepare with that, or we can also use these unstable nuclei in a beneficial way, like in the treatment of the cancer. Now, what are the significance used in cancer treatment? Radiotherapy, right? So it doesn't mean that radiation is harmful, we know that, but we can also use the radiation in a good way, in a useful way. So when we are going to treat the cancer, so that is also a radiation, so but we have used in a good way, so that is used in the cancer treatment. Okay, helps in food preservation. When we have to preserve the food, we also use the radiations. Generate electricity via nuclear reactors, right? So with the help of uranium 235, that is the radioactive substance, we generate the power plants which produces the electricity. So that is the power plants which generates the electricity. So that is also a you know branch of nuclear chemistry. Again, we have environmental chemistry. The next branch we have environmental chemistry, that is very important branch. Environmental chemistry studies the components of the environments and effects of human activities on it, right? Means that the very first thing is that we study the composition or the components of the environment. As we know that the our atmosphere, right? Atmosphere consists of the different layers, like troposphere, right? Stratosphere, mesosphere. So these are thermosphere. These all are the components of the atmosphere. Now also their composition is changed in the troposphere. That is a very first layer, and in which all the gases are present, like nitrogen, like oxygen, like carbon dioxide. In stratosphere, the mostly the ozone is present. Same like in the mesosphere. So when we are going to move to these top layers, so the pressure of the gases would be decreases. So means the composition simply would be changed. Again, the effect of human activities on it. For example, vehicles, right? So from vehicles, what vehicle releases different pollutants. Pollutant means sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. These are the pollutants which pollute our environment, right? So okay, now they have released from the vehicles and they are present in the atmosphere. When the rain will takes place, when the rain will takes place, it will cause acid rain, right? So that pollute our air, that pollute our atmosphere. Also, when they are present in the atmosphere, what they will do, they will trap the sunlight. When they will trap the sunlight, definitely it will cause the global warming, and global warming change the climate. So to overcome this, we have a different separate branch of chemistry in which we deal all with these. Okay, in environmental chemistry also we have soil pollution comes, we have yes, soil pollution, then we have air pollution, air pollution, then we have water pollution. All these come in the environmental chemistry. That what are the causes of these pollutions and how can we tackle with these problems that are causing the pollution. Okay, now significance helps control pollution. That how can we control the pollution, right? As we that yes, do the forestations means grow more plants that will consume the carbon dioxide gas, right? Also use the energy saving vehicles, that will not give out these pollutants, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen dioxide. Again, supports conservation of natural resources, that also that use as possible as the natural resources instead of using, like for example, if you are use public transport instead of using the separate or individual cars. Also use, you can also use the bicycle, right? Again, we have related to geology, ecology, and social sciences, right? In geology, ecology, and social sciences, also soil sciences. Sorry, soil sciences means that the composition of the soil, which also comes in the soil pollution, we study in the environmental biology. Okay, see, you can see here water contamination, which is causing the death for the creation which is living inside the water. Soil pollution, which also making our soil unfertile. Air pollution is also trapping the more heat, which is causing the different diseases like the cancer, like the heat stroke. Many people die due to heat stroke, so we have to tackle with these problems, and in environmental chemistry we solve all these problems. Also comes the green chemistry as well, that okay, now we have another branch that is known as the polymer chemistry. So polymer chemistry is the study of polymer, which are large molecules made by linking monomers, right? So monomers is the micromolecules, the small molecules. So when many monomers combine, like just like this, many monomers combines together, they form a large molecule, which is known as the polymer. So this is the polymer, and individual unit is known as the monomer. Then so when we study about the polymer, that comes in the polymer chemistry. Now everything like the toys through which the children plays, they are the polymer. The pipes, the cloth you wear is also a polymer, na? That is made up of a nylon. So nylon is a polymer. Okay, now what is the significance of the polymer? Plastics, everyday items such as plastic bottles, containers, and toys, these all are the polymers. So when you are going to synthesize them in the bulk quantity in the industries, that comes in the polymer chemistry. Then fibers used in clothing, ropes, and carpets, like these all are the polymers. Rubbers, used in tires, seals, footwear, these all are polymer. Biopolymers used in medical devices, biodegradable plastics, and drug delivery. Drug delivery means what, as I just have shown you this diagram in which there was a, yeah, capsule. So drug delivery means whatever the drug, whatever the medicine which it is in the this capsule like structure. So this capsule is a polymer, right? So that helps in the drug delivery. I think we have done with the polymer chemistry. Now we have another chemistry which is astrochemistry, right? So astrochemistry is a branch of chemistry that studies the chemical composition and reactions of matter in space, such as stars, planets, and interstellar clouds, right? So in astrochemistry, definitely we study about the composition of the different planets and the stars, right? What we study, composition of different planets and star, composition of different planets and stars. For example, in sun, what is happening in sun, the fusion reaction is going to take place in the sun, in which hydrogen is transforming into the helium and releases a large amount of energy. Again, we have, for example, Mars. So Mars have the particles of iron, right? So that is the composition we are going to study. Also, we know that there are many terrestrial planets, right? There are many ice giant planets. Ice giant planets means there would be water droplets, water would be there, ammonia would be there, methane would be there. So yes, so means when we are going to study the different composition of the different planets, that would comes in the astrochemistry. Also, the chemical reaction is taking place in the space, like there are different chemical reactions which is going to take place in the space that we study in the astrochemistry. That such as stars, planets, like they are in the space, like we have seen the many stars are, the death of stars takes place, and different meteoroids are formed and fall on the earth. So these are the chemical reaction which is going to take place in the astrochemistry. Now, what is the significance of astrochemistry? Origin of life, like helps understand the chemical basis of life's formation, right? That how the life has originated, right? As we know, there is a Big Bang theory, and in Big Bang theory, a large explosion takes place. As a result, different planets are formed, right? So that we come to know due to the astrochemistry. Okay, next we have significance is cosmic chemistry studies chemical processes in space. As I told you that different chemical processes or reactions are going on in the space, so that is also we study in the astrochemistry. Stars and planet formation, like many stars are formed, and at a time they are the death also takes place, and which we study in the astrochemistry. Okay, now we have the next branch we have is geochemistry. Means then we're going to study the surface texture and the chemical composition of the earth, right? Geochemistry studies the chemical composition of the earth and the distribution and movement of elements within its rock, soil, and atmosphere, right? The very first thing, chemical composition of earth. As we know that earth consists of the three layers, right? That is earth crust, then we have different like layer, then earth crust, upper earth crust, lower earth crust, then we have uh, a core, right? Inner core, outer core. So when we are going to study the composition of the earth, that would comes in the geochemistry. And the distribution of movement of elements within its rock, right? Rock, soil, as we know that there is a different types of rocks, like different types of minerals. Rock is what? Different types of minerals. So in that we study that. And also soil, as we know there are different types of soil are there, like the fertile soil, right? Infertile soil, then we have infertile soil, right? The water also, like we have fresh water, and we have salt water, like the sea, salt water, ocean or sea water. So there are these are the different, and atmosphere, right? Atmosphere, the different layers of atmosphere, like troposphere, stratosphere. So when we are going to study these, that comes in the geochemistry, right? Okay, now what the significance of geochemistry? Helps in the exploration of natural resources such as minerals, oils, and gas, right? With the help of the geochemistry, when we are going to study the surface area of the earth, when then we come to know that natural resources, right? How we come to know that in this area, in this particular area of the earth, there is a petrol, right? Earth, there is a petrol, right? When we are going to study the earth surface, then we come to know, okay, there might be a possibility that there would be a petrol, there would be a crude oil. Basically it's not a petrol, it's crude oil, right? So there would be a gas. So how we come to know that in this particular area there would be a gas? So when we are going to study the chemistry of the you know earth surface area, then we come to know that. Again, adds in understanding earth's structure, formation, and geological process like volcanism and rock formation, right? As we know that the scientist has examined the different, we have a specific areas now which through which volcanoes are erupted. So when that we study, how by studying the earth. Assist in detecting and controlling environmental contamination through chemical analysis of soil and and water. And we can also, as I told you, that there are different types of soil, because there are different types of minerals are found there. So by studying the different types of soil, like if, for example, if we have an infertile soil, so the scientists, what will they do, they would make a possible effort to make that infertile soil into a fertile land, right? Or also, we have fresh water, we have salt water. For example, the Saudi Arabia is what they are doing, they are changing the salt water into the fresh water, and they are using it in their day to day life for the drinking purpose. So how can we do that? By studying the geochemistry. Okay, now I hope you have understood all the branches of chemistry and their significance. If you have any confusion, then you can ask me in the comment box. Okay, in the next lecture, we have different quizzes and different questions are related to the Aga Khan board, which they might the examiner ask you in the board. But in the tomorrow's lecture, we will do that. Okay. Till to here, if you have any confusion, and then you can ask me in the comment box. But before that, you just have to, what you have to do, you have to, subscribe the channel and like the channel and share the channel as well. Thank you so much.